292 goals in 100 matches in the last, call it, 1 month. And we are ready for the last, call it, some will say last 4 games, yes. The semi-finals, third place match, and the final game. Welcome to the FIFA Roundup Show. My name is Richard Unwaje on Atlantic TV. On the show today, as usual, we'll look at the big games, and big focus will be what's happening around the semi-finals of the World Cup, where we have a big clash today between Spain and France. The big talking point will be what will happen in that particular game today. And we will not forget the important match between England and Argentina. As usual, our own very own reporter is in Atlanta, who is covering the World Cup, will join us on the show to give us some updates from what's happening around the World Cup. Welcome to the FIFA Roundup Show. And if you're ready, I'm ready. Thank you for joining us back on the FIFA World Cup Roundup Show. And on the show today is going to be a bumper package, and that's why I have to just go into what's happening. And let's start with the game which will happen today. It's the big match. We'll look back at two important nations when it comes to World Cup history that have written names in gold. Come on, talk about France. Look back at when France won the World Cup last in 2018. Many remember what happened in that particular World Cup. Many will talk about the fact that, that's when we saw the man they call Mbappe, give us great football. And some will say 8 years after, Mbappe is still on everybody's lips. And France won that popular World Cup against Croatia. A very, very important, game. And talk about the fact that this particular, French team, some can easily pick out almost same characteristics which we saw in 2018, and they'll go against the Spanish team. The Spanish team is a very interesting team. We'll take our minds back to Africa, in South Africa. In 2010, we look back at the important goal that one man scored in Iniesta against Netherlands. That was the last time the Spanish team touched the World Cup. And many will look at the fact that we are at the semi-finals, that one of these countries would get the chance to play in the final of the World Cup come on the 19th of July. Some will say countdown to the World Cup. Yes, the semi-finals give us an official countdown to the World Cup, an official countdown to the third place match. The interesting fact is that one nation will play the third place match, one nation will play the final match. The question will be which of the nations. But everybody will wish to have the chance to play in the World Cup final, where the biggest in world football, where the whole world will be watching to see what will happen on that particular day. For many people, many will believe, or many football fans will say it might be a repeat of what we saw about 4 years ago in Qatar, where we had Argentina play against France. Why for some, let's see something different. For some, let's see the Spanish team. Maybe they're not, maybe someone said they're not playing this kind of tic-tac football compared to what we saw their Iniestas and their Xavi do in talk about in 2010. But some talk about the fact that they are getting the results. And we'll look at how many goals this particular team has scored. Look at the French team and how many goals the French team have scored. I think France have scored 16 goals so far in the World Cup. And some will talk about the fact that we've had one particular goal scorer doing very well. They call him Dembele is doing well. We'll talk about Mbappe is doing well. So it has been a very interesting one. And the most interesting part of the World Cup is in the semi-finals, it's fair to judge and say there is no underdog. It's the game of the biggest of the biggest. Joining me all the way from Atlanta is our own very own Pooja, who is covering the FIFA World Cup, and of course is getting ready for the England game, which will be taking place in Atlanta. But we'll talk about the game between Spain and the game and France this evening. It will be a very, very interesting match, and many people will be waiting to see what will happen, who would have the final smile today. And we'll talk about basically about their tactics and how their tactics can be able to make the difference after 90 minutes, maybe 120 minutes, maybe penalty shootout. Top of the morning to you, Pooja. Pooja, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good to be on the show. Doing good. Expecting to see a fireworks in the game today against France and Spain.
And Pooja, let's go into business and let's talk about the tactics. Looking at the two teams with their own tactics. Now, many people have said that Deschamps' tactic is a very, very brilliant one, which makes him look as if he plays more of a attacking football, but still have a way of, defending. Others have criticized his team for at least trying to conceive goals. But for the Spanish team, many have spoken about the fact that they are disciplined when it comes to protecting their net, and they hardly score goal. They hardly they know they've conceded just one goal so far in the tournament. Now let's look at tactics between the two coaches. Which tactics would you expect? Do you expect the coaches to change their tactics today going out, or stick to the same tactics they have been using from the group stage down to the last game, the quarterfinals?
Well, I think it will be very difficult for any manager to change tactics at this stage of the competition. I think you have to stick with your guns, you stick with what you have used to get to this stage of the tournament. If you look at France are I won't say they change tactics. They are a victim of how teams face them because any game they've gone into, they've been favorites. So it's a team that would play low blocks. It's a team that will play aggressive football, physical football, and they will adjust as a big side. And if they adjusted, against Morocco, they adjusted. Against Paraguay, they adjusted. But I think it's still the core of the team. It's still with the duo of Bakula, Dembele, Olise, and Mbappe. The only problem they have is the midfield, which of course they are trying to rejig. For the first 2, 3 games, Tuameni started for them, or after that one, Manukune, started for them. So it looks like they are looking to find a way to find a balance. That is the only area that I think Spain have a bit of edge over France. For Spain, it's very straightforward. They are going to play their own compact football, very, very defensive football. Not really defensive, because if you keep the ball as much as they keep the ball, they've kept the ball more than 70% than any other team they faced to this stage. So talking about their tactics, it's not that they are playing defensive football. They are playing a possession kind of football that take the ball from you. And if you are not with the ball, how will you score? How will you attack them? So I think it's going to be a game of two different philosophy. Uh, France have scored 19 goals, and Spain have conceded just one goal. So I don't think any manager who is serious will go into this match will rejig or trying to change something very drastically, because it's just 90 minutes, anything can happen. But stick with what you have used for the past 5 to 6 games to get to this stage of the competition.
Let's talk about the midfielder of the two teams. Now, some will talk about the magic shine when it comes to France. Olise, the man who gives all those beautiful passes. He has understanding between him and Dembele, and has understanding between him and talk about also with him and Mbappe. But when people look at the Spanish team and look at the traditional Spanish team, which many will talk about the fact that they have much of those creativity. Now, talking about the midfield, do you think the midfield of the Spanish team have Rodri, of course, doing the big four work and everything. Danny Olmo, in between, sometimes playing within the midfield, sometimes playing within the flanks and everything. But look at the midfield of the both teams. Do you think the French national team have the upper hand midfield wise?
I don't think so. I think throughout the competition, even in conversation, everybody have highlighted that France cover up their midfield so well because they play so well in the attacking phase and the defensive phase. I think compared to teams they played, they have a very not really weak, but less to Spain. Spain have Rodri, they have Pedri, it can be Gavi, it can be Olmo. So it looks like they are well sorted, because if you look at what Deschamps have been doing as well, he has been trying to rejig that midfield as well. Like I said, he started using Tuameni. He saw that Rabiot was doing too much of clearing and forwarding. He has to introduce Manu Kone, and he has been using Kone till now. And through to the feelers that we've gotten, it looks like it's Tchouaméni that will come back to this team against Spain. So it looks like they are not well stable in the middle of the park, unlike their defense and their attack. For Spain, it has been consistent for them, and one thing that is good for them, that they have an experienced Rodri, who's the captain of the side, in that midfield. So if any battle is going to be won today, it will be from the midfield, because if you cut out the channel for France by Spain to all this Dembele, Olise, and co, I think they will have a breakdown. Olise is not really going to operate from that middle of like a central midfielder. He always goes toward an attacking midfielder like an 8. So when you go forward, you leave the vacuum open for the likes of Rabiot or Manukone, which of course Rodri, Pedri, which of course Pedri is very, very beautiful when it comes to keeping possession and spreading the passes. So I think if anybody wants to win the game outrightly, in the 90 minutes today, they have to cut Spain have to cut out the channel from that midfield of France. But how would they do it? It's very difficult because France have a well deep squad to do justice to it. So it's going to be a very big game. But I think Spain have a better midfield than France.
And talking about better midfield, are you disappointed with what some critics of Pedri have seen that Pedri has not really been at top of his game? Many expected Pedri to be one of those players many would have spoken about during the World Cup. Are you disappointed with his performance so far in this particular World Cup?
Okay, so I won't say I'm disappointed, but I'll talk about what the fan base have turned football into. Football has been a kind of a comparison, kind of football now. You have to compare to make, to win awards. You have to compare to win MVPs, and you have to. Fans always compare, and unfortunately for Pedri, they've compared him with someone who have scored 6 goals already. Talking about Jude Bellingham, so there's no way. People always say, if you score goals are actually be a currency for all these players. If you don't score a lot of goals, they will not see you. People always regard Lampard, as a better midfielder in terms of scoring goals than Iniesta. But if you look at Iniesta, you see that he does more than just scoring goals. And there's no way you can, wash yourself as a player off those comparisons because you don't dictate for the fans, you don't dictate for the tabloid, you don't even dictate for Atlantic TV. So we always come together to give this comparison to make conversation about football. So unfortunately for Pedri, being compared with Bellingham, who is having a tournament of a lifetime. So there's no way you will not see him less. But what he has done in that midfield for Spain cannot be overlooked. Look at what they've done. One goal considered, they blocked the shot. They've had 70% possession than any other team they faced till this, semi-final. So it looks like they are doing something very key in that midfield. And because they are not even scoring a lot of goals as well. So the possession kind of football, keeping the ball, Pedro have done it very well. They call it Mr. Spin. So unfortunately, like I said, he has been compared with someone who is having a tournament of his life and is not getting goals. So there's no way, but it's not a disappointing season tournament for him. You can say for Lami Yamal, who is of course a winger who has 0 assists. You can say Lami Yamal has not have a good season, a good tournament, which is fair for a winger with 0 assists and a 1 goal, and he has taken 17 shots. You can say, okay, fine, it's a disappointment. But for Pedri, who play according to what the coach wants, keeping possession, I don't think it's a disappointing tournament for him.
All right, now let's talk about finally on this particular semi-finals game. Who would win? Who do you want to see play the final? Who do you want to watch? Whose pictures do you want to capture? Which fans do you want to talk to come on Sunday 19th, which will be the final? Do you think, who would you put your money on, France or Spain?
It's very dicey, but based on what we've seen in these knockout phases, Spain, not that they've struggled to score, not that they've struggled to play, but you can't be waiting for last minute goal against France. France will hurt you. So if you want to win against France, you have to score because they have as much as lot of attackers and even midfielders that can come in and score goals. So waiting for Merino to come in and score for you, I don't think it will work against France. So if they want to win, they have to win as soon as possible. But for France, they go all out, gun blazing, and I think that's what they will do against Spain as well. Spain have not considered. I think they will concede more than 2 goals more than a goal in this semi-final. I think France are going to break them and they are going to score as much goal as possible. So I'm seeing France, based on what they've done in this knockout phase, based on their squad depth, and based on the experience they've had from Qatar down to US. So for me, I think France will have the better. And for us, it looks, it's colorful. Mbappe have scored 8 goals. Maybe we'll get 1 or 2 today again. And getting to the final, we have another blockbuster Mbappe with maybe 10 goals against a very big side. So I don't think even FIFA we want Spain to get to the final.
France to get to the finals, rather. France to get to the finals. And talking about France to get to the finals, do you want a France England or a repeat of 2022 France Argentina? Which
Well, so
would really,
I
really
think
give us
I
that
think
real interesting final game?
I think it will be Argentina. Look, forget what Argentina is doing. Messi factor is a big one, and this is USA, this is America, this is where he has played for the past 2 to 3 years. It's going to break the internet if Messi gets to the final of the World Cup. It will be a dream for FIFA. It will be a dream for the Americans, and I think it will be a catalyst for them to boost the economy of football in the USA, in America. So it will be France, Argentina that will break the internet. But we can just make prediction here. I think England are more equipped than Argentina to win that semi-final game. But of course, anything can happen in football. But for me, I believe Mbappe again versus Argentina will be good on TV.
Good for TV. Now, Pooja, now let's leave what's happening around the game today. Let's talk something about something very interesting. Now, talking about Nigerian journalists covering the World Cup, quite freelancing journalists. Now, several Nigerian journalists are covering the World Cup. Shout out to the likes of Dr. Victor Modo, Justina, Kali, Toby, yourself also, Pooja. Now, something had gotten many people talking how Nigerian journalists are being able to cope covering this particular World Cup without Nigeria in the tournament. And this has come the fact that it's a very, very expensive World Cup, which you've alluded to in several of our shows. It's very, very expensive. Now, you've spoken to our colleagues there. What are they saying? How are they coping covering this particular World Cup in this expensive World Cup, which is all like the Qatar World Cup? How are they coping without Nigeria and everything?
It's a very crazy, atmosphere. Yeah? Even without the journalists, FIFA have said this World Cup is the most expensive World Cup ever. I've seen pictures, I've seen videos of people, spending as much as $150,000 for this tournament. I've seen people, buying tickets for more than 8,000 euros. I've seen people buying tickets for more than 800 pounds. So it's a very expensive tournament, and for journalists, it's crazy because as a fan, you can just pick a game and say, okay, fine, this is the game you are going to cover, and you go back to your country, and it can even cost you less. But as a journalist, you have to cover the games. And then for African journalists, it's even very, very difficult because I always see people saying, no, you don't convert the money now. Why are you converting dollar to your local currency? How will you are not earning in naira, you're not earning in dollars. You earn in your local currency. For Nigerians, you earn in naira. So when you earn in naira, you convert it to buy stuff in the US dollars in the US. And it's very crazy. And because you cannot predict the teams that will get to these knockout phases, you cannot do your flights, with a good space. You have to do it impromptu, very close, and it's very expensive. I did a refund from one of the airline, and I posted it on X, and for just a one way, it's over $280. Imagine $280. That means I'm using over 400,000 for just one trip, one way trip. So if I'm coming back to maybe Atlanta, I'm spending over 1 million on a single trip, double, double trip. So now just imagine by calculation that I've gone to close to 8 cities, and I've done return tickets. That means I've spent over 8 million naira on tickets alone. And imagine someone like me that find a way to get the because of course I'm traveling alone. I have to get a small space to see a studio room to sleep, and I can pay less. Imagine the kind of the Calista of this world, that travel together. That means they have to get a bigger room. Imagine what they've been spending, and they've been traveling everywhere as well. They've been going, New Jersey, Boston, Miami, Atlanta, Philadelphia. They even came from Canada. So you can imagine, when you calculate what we've spent. But of course, like I did an interview with a Ghanaian journalist, and he said, once you've decided on your mind that you want to cover the World Cup, you have to face the consequences. You don't have to complain to anybody. That's why you not see me complaining, on the internet about the amount of blah blah blah. I just try to analyze what we've spent, how we are struggling to get all this money, and of course how we are trying to churn out content in this midst of expenses. So it has been crazy. Kudos to all journalists, not only African journalists, but all journalists covering these tournaments, because I've seen the foreigners, the Chinese, I've seen the English media. They were, all of them were complaining, about and imagine they are earning in the same currency, and imagine for them to be. And I have a friend as well. He has gone back to the UK immediately. The quarterfinal, he said they cannot continue with the semi-final, despite the fact that England is in the semi-final, is back into UK because he wants to start preparing for the Premier League. So it's crazy for even foreign journalists, talk less of African journalists who earn in local currency, to be converted to a dollar or to pounds. So, but shout out to everyone. I think we've done a good job. Unfortunately, even by accreditation too, we are like level C, because first level is the team that qualifies, second level is the agency, and third level is the team that team didn't qualify, and we are in that level. So it shows that in everything we are doing here, we are shortchanged. But this is the price you pay to be a journalist at the World Cup, and of course for the expensive, it's crazy. And kudos to my colleagues, kudos to everybody here. Hopefully, like I posted, the good thing for us that every one of us have good health. We've not seen any cases of sickness, and I pray that till the end of the tournament, we all go back to Nigeria in one mind and in good health.
I'm very, very emotional here. Thank you very much, Pooja. Thank you to all Nigerian journalists out there, the likes of Kalista, Dr. Victor Modo, Toby. Please remind me of all their names. Help me call everybody's name that is out there, Pooja, if you can help me. Call all. Let's give them a
Okay, so
special shout out today.
let's have Toby Fisayo Dairo from ACS Sports. We have Ghost Power, we have Kalista, we have who again? We have and we
Justina, I
have
want to get Justina.
yeah, Justina as well. We have the Arise TV lady, Abby, of course, from Arise TV. I think Victor Modo as well, who went to, imagine Victor went to Canada before he came to the US. Imagine the kind of expense he has, accrued. So for all the guys, everybody knows themselves. We have done our best, we have done our bits, and when we return in good health, so that when we return to Nigeria, we can continue to hustle. You don't want to, spend as much as this, and you still fall sick to spend money on yourself. So hopefully, everybody, by God's grace, return to Nigeria in good faith, and continue to hustle, because Gary will go drink, don't be here.
So Pooja, are we seeing Morocco next 2 weeks? And Pooja said, Richard, you don't like me.
No,
That's of course
no, no,
Pooja.
no,
No, Pooja is saying something. What are you saying?
no. Unfortunately, from here, I'm going to the UK for the Commonwealth.
For the
So, from the Commonwealth, I'm just going back to Nigeria. And of course, if Nigeria get to the semi-final or the final of WAFCON, I might be in Morocco. But of course, from here, I'm going to the
you know
UK for
that
the
you know
Commonwealth,
that
and hopefully,
we'll definitely get to the final in the WAFCON in Morocco. We'll definitely get to the final. All right, thank you
so
very
when we
much,
get to the final, you
Pooja.
see me.
All right, thank you very much, Pooja, all the way from Atlanta. And of course, shout out to all Nigerian journalists covering the World Cup. We know what it means to cover international tournaments. It's not really easy. Talk about the expenses and everything, but you have to do it for the game. All right, let's move to our special person of the day, to a FIFA World Cup show. Who is that special person we are celebrating? Who is that particular player we're talking about? There's nobody but Yamal. Yamal will is 19. His 19 years old birthday yesterday, and Yamal will be set for what many will call a very, very interesting game where Yamal will play against the French team. And Yamal is just 19, and today we celebrate him on the show for all he has done when it comes to football. Yamal keeps writing his name on gold, maybe not his tournament, but whether he has scored just one goal. At 19 years, how many people had the chance to play in the World Cup? Some players had the chance to play in the World Cup in their 30s. Shout out to Shola Hamiobi, Nigerian guy, who just played, who had to play the World Cup in his 30s. So it's to play the World Cup is a dream come true, but imagine playing the World Cup at 19 years and the world is talking about it already. So shout out to him. We celebrate him today on our show. All right, from what's happening around there, let's look at this particular video when our own correspondent talk about Pooja was on the streets of Miami talking about the World Cup, where he asked some deep questions ahead of the semi-finals game. Now let's go over to Miami and let's listen to Pooja speaking to football fans.
So England are through to the semi-finals of the World Cup. How excited are you?
I'm very excited, man. We've been here before. We had a tough game last time against Croatia. Didn't get over the line. This time we're going to be facing either Switzerland or Argentina. We'll see tonight who we're playing. Part of me's hoping it's Argentina, but part of me's hoping it's Switzerland. I think we can beat either of them, to be fair. I think Tuchel's football will do better against a better team. So we haven't really been tested that much in this tournament. Obviously, Norway's a tough game today, but we haven't faced a top 5 team yet. Give me Argentina all day, man. Let's see how we do against them.
So in terms of the ranking of midfielders, where will you rank Jude Bellingham?
Like amongst the best ever? Do you know what? He's up there right now, isn't he? I was saying to the guy in the ground, so far this tournament, I'm pretty sure the only players who have scored has been Kane and Jude. Correct me if I'm wrong. but Jude has carried us this tournament, especially in the knockout round so far. Against DL Congo, he was okay. Against Mexico, best player on the pitch by a country mile. Today again, best player on the pitch by a country mile. Scored twice today, took us through to the semi-finals. That's all we need. Best England midfielders of all time. He's 23 years old, man, and he's already one of the best. Let's be honest, he is.
2 games to go to win the World Cup after 60 years. Are you confident enough that it's coming home?
I don't know, man. I don't know how to say I'm confident. I'm hopeful, but I don't know if I'm confident. I trust Tuchel, though. I really do. I think he's a game-by-game manager. I think he's taking every game how it comes. We haven't played it easy the whole tournament. Every game's been very narrow. We shall see against whoever we're playing in the semi-final who we're against. I would not be confident against France in the final, though. I'd rather play Spain. We've lost to Spain before, but I think we can work out Spain more than we can France. They've just got the better quality, France, so I'd rather play Spain in the final.
So I wanted to do something. I wanted to say something for my TV station, Atlantic TV. Shout out to Atlantic TV.
Shout out to Atlantic TV. You're the boy.
See you in the final.
Nice one. See you in the final, man.
Thank you.
All right, only on Atlantic TV, covering the World Cup right there in Miami with Pooja. I'm telling you something, it's going to be a very interesting one. England, and they see it coming. Their game will be tomorrow against Argentina. Just as Pooja said, many football fans would like to see an interesting game whereby would have this particular guy pull himself through again, talk about nobody else but Messi in the final. So I believe that would be a very interesting game. But let's keep our fingers crossed. All right, so what's trending around the FIFA World Cup now? Yamal again is trending today, and this particular video got many people talking. Talk about Yamal always having a way to trend, but come on, this was celebrating his birthday celebration yesterday, and he said something special that his best birthday gift is to defeat France today. Let's just watch a bit of the video.
Mi deseo obviamente es ganar a Francia, estemos todos juntos hasta el 19 y vamos a por ellos.